Calm down, bro. I just walked in here. Let him breathe, man. Let him breathe.
We'll go first question here in the front and the center on one. Just hold on for the mic.
Hi, Ty. Dave Schrader from WBAY up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. We caught up with your high school coach this week, Brad Weber, and one of the things that I noticed from watching you at Oshkosh North and now watching you on the final stage that stands out is the ability to play with calm amidst chaos. Coach Weber was saying that even in finals, even in the playoffs, you're having conversations all the time. I'm wondering how much staying in your routine, in those conversations with people back home, mean to you as you try to stay grounded in the moment and not let the noise creep in.
Yeah, it's important for me at a time like this to talk to people whose opinions I respect. Coach Weber is one of those, being my high school coach. Coach Prohm is in the back there, my college coach. I've had many conversations with those guys because they've seen me in many different scenarios and situations. And I'm just trying to play the right way. I think, these games can get crazy. And, I think what I've learned from those guys as my coaches and Coach Carlisle, is that people follow, the leader, and that typically is our coaches. When things are going crazy and those guys remain calm, it's easy for us to remain the same way. So I try to look at it in the game that way as well. Just try to, be as relaxed as I can. Because if anybody's looking at me, I want them to feel confident, no matter what. So just trying to play the right way. There's good games, there's bad games, but I hate to say it like this, but it is a child's game, this means the world to me, and I'm really excited to be here, and I love what I do, and I love this game. But I do think it's important that, you don't overreact at any point, just enjoy what you're doing.
Second row here on left.
Ty, what does Obi mean to this group? I know you had to the round the back dish to him to kind of get yourself going. He has the big putback dunk late, but just the growth you've seen from him throughout the years and having him as a teammate.
Yeah, Obi's been so big for us, all year, past 2 years. His energy, and when we traded for him, I had a pretty funny tweet, but I think that he consistently continues to bring pace into the game. That's what he does. When it's not going well and when it is going well, he continues to bring that pace to the game. And he's flying up the floor and you're hitting him ahead. And he did a great job today of making the right play, had a huge tip-in dunk, and those are huge energy plays for this building. And he fits so perfect with what we do. And when we traded for him, I was really excited, not only because of our personal relationship, but because of how well he can help this group. So, he's going to continue to do that. And, he was really big. Our bench was really big tonight as a whole. So we need that consistently. We preach depth. We've talked about it all year. So, our second unit did a great job of being prepared today.
Same row, third seat.
Samson Folk with Basketball She Wrote.
What's up, man? It's good to see you.
Yeah, likewise.
Yes, sir.
So you had that show on Shea where you forced to travel, and then towards the end of the game, you guys were like a trash compactor, keeping those guys in. How hard is it to set the edge and keep a guy like that bottled up? Like the ball pressure at the level of the screen was incredible.
Yeah, I think with Shea, he's so good. He's so slippery, in between those gaps. It's like he splits screens that you're like, I don't know how he's doing that. And I think in game 2 specifically, if you watch a lot of my coverages, I did a poor job of being at the level. I was back, and then he could come off, and he had so much space, and now he's kind of manipulating me with in and out, or he can just split and throw through. I thought that was something we really had to clean up coming into today, and you're consistently trying to mix things up, because if you give any good player the same look over and over, it can be really tough. So, whatever it is, a show at the level, I just can't be flat. If I'm flat, there's nothing I can do with him coming downhill. So, just consistently trying to grow. And as you know, it never is always perfect. Sometimes you got to figure it out. And, I think the big thing that makes it easier is when Drew is really blowing through, those screens. And, I think more times than not, he's getting held and having to fight through. And it's the finals. It's physical basketball. But I thought he did a great job of really fighting through. And if I can just hold him for a second, give him more time to get back square, it makes things easier. So just got to do a better job of being at the level, presenting myself as much as I can. Because if I'm back, he's a really tough cover.
On your right, Dan.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Benedict Mathurin, 27 points in 22 minutes. I think 5 of those 9 buckets were in the paint. I know there's been so much conversation about getting in the paint. What did he bring to you guys off the bench tonight? And, what did you see as his ability to get downhill?
Yeah, I thought he just did a great job of just playing within what we do so well. He did a great job of coming off handoffs, reading the pocket, rising up for the mid-range. This is a defense that will give that up, analytically, that's not the best shot. But I thought he did a great job of hunting that, getting downhill. And what Ben does at such a high level is get to the free throw line. And in this series, we need to get free throws. We need to get to the paint. And I thought Ben did a great job of that. Our bigs were great, Miles and Obi and Pascal, of setting solid screens to allow us to really get in the pocket and make reads. And I thought he was unbelievable. I thought he did a great job in transition as well, forcing the issue. Getting downhill. So he just made big play after big play. And that's the great thing, about the finals, the great thing about basketball. When you have a team with this much depth, it can be anybody's night. And just so proud of the way that he responded, tonight. And I feel like he's had a great series, honestly. And, that was a big game and huge minutes for us. And it's a guy that we missed heavily last year in our run. And we can consistently talked about it, all year, how important it's going to be, for him to be a part of this playoff run. And you're seeing why that is. So he was a huge reason, for our victory tonight.
Third row on your left.
Hey, Tyrese, Jake Nissy, right here.
Oh.
Jake Nissy from the Daily Mail. There was a point early in the first quarter you guys fell down. I think it was 15-6, quick timeout. What was kind of said during that break, and kind of how does this group keep finding the spirit to keep coming from behind in games?
Yeah, the conversation was like, we got to wake up. I think that was the biggest thing. We had a couple bad turnovers there. We were playing a little antsy. Antsy probably is the right word. But I thought we just did a great job of responding. Like, it's the NBA. 10 points is nothing. 20 points is nothing. No lead is safe. So you just got to put your head down and just one play at a time. That's what it is. One play, one quarter, whatever the case is. Try to, look at it in increments that way, so you can stick with it. So, we didn't start the game the way we wanted to. I thought our first quarter was poor, but our second unit did a great job of giving us energy to start that second quarter. And we just rode that wave, from there. So definitely got to get better starts. The first 3 minutes and the last 3 minutes of every quarter are so important, especially in a time like this. So, we weren't good to start the third quarter either. So, watch the film, see where we can get better, continue to improve.
All the way in the back under the camera.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. With due respect to TJ, when he comes in and loses his mind the way that he likes to do, what does that mean? We know it's the impact on the crowd. We see that. What does it mean for the huddle? What does it mean in the room? What does it mean that this is a guy who's still willing to play that way? Like, he's like one of one in a lot of ways. And then obviously he did stuff tonight that's never been done off the bench in a finals game. Just what has he meant top to bottom for this group?
Yeah, I think his energy is unbelievable. You guys know he's definitely a crowd favorite. I joke with him. I call him the Great White Hope. He does a great job of bringing energy in this building, and I think people feed off that. And he had a couple unbelievable steals. I think in the series like this, what's so important is the margins. You got to win in the margins. It's not necessarily who can make the most shots or anything. It's taking care of the ball, rebounding, little things like that. I thought he does a great job of just giving us energy plays consistently, and getting downhill and operating. Nobody operates on the baseline like that guy, So I thought he did a great job of consistently getting there and just making hustle play after hustle play, and sticking with it. And I thought we did a great job of just feeding off of what he was doing. He's been like a big brother to me since I've gotten here. And, a guy, you look at TJ McConnell and like his story is unbelievable, So, I just enjoy being able to play alongside him, and the energy he gives his teammates and this building is a lot of fun.
Dustin and Howard, last two.
I thought Furphy was the Great White Hope again.
Well,
He took it back.
it's in a slow transition right now.
Right, I
It's
see.
in a slow transition. You see the energy that he gets when he comes in the game too. Yeah, we got two Great White Hopes currently.
That's true. Okay. You obviously talked in between game 2 and game 3 about the importance of just mixing things up, playing off the pitch a little bit more. Just what did you like about just the way you attacked their defense, the way you were able to get the ball in the paint and get yourself some sort of downhill rhythm in this game?
Yeah, I think we did a great job of just playing off the pitch, off handoffs, screening, all those things. I thought we did a great job of. This is a defense that you can't consistently give them the same look. If you try to hold the ball and call for screens, like they just crawl into you and then they, pack the paint, and it's not easy. It's really tough. That's why they're, such a historical defense. They do such a great job of that. So you got to just continue to give them different looks, as much as you can. So, I thought we did a great job of just playing and continuing to play random basketball. And against a team like this, there's not really play calls. You just got to play. So, I thought we did a great job of responding. Now we got to watch the film, see where we can get better. Still room for improvement. We got adjustments to make. They got adjustments to make. But, just got to consistently play, pace after random basketball, and good things happen. So, I thought we did a great job of doing that tonight.
Howard, last one.
Howard Beck from The Ringer. Tyrese, you impact the game a lot of different ways, not just scoring, obviously, but when you don't score, there is sometimes some chatter. How cognizant were you of that chatter the last couple of days? Was it a conversation you had with coaches at all? And how do you go about kind of calibrating that balance between the playmaking and scoring in general?
Yeah, I think the commentary is always going to be what it is. Most of the time, the talking heads on the major platforms, I couldn't care less, honestly. Like, what do they really know about basketball? But I think as a group, and watching film myself, seeing where I can get better is important. And I mean, at a time like this, I'm not really on social media as much. I try to stay off it as much as I can, but you see it, and ESPN might be on in my house, and there it is, and it is what it is. But I think just seeing where I can be better is the most important thing, and having that reflection with myself. I talk a lot, obviously, with my trainer Drew and Coach Carlisle and all those guys, and it's a constant conversation of seeing where I can get better. There was adjustments that had to be made coming into today for me, and I thought I did a better job at that. And I'll watch film again and see where I can get better. But I think there's going to be ebbs and flows. I'm never going to be, super great and shoot so many shots every game consistently. There's going to be games where I don't, and I got to be able to find the right balance between the two. But I mean, I think it's experience is the best way that I can learn from it. So seeing where I could be better is important through the first two games, and just trying to be better today. Taking what the defense gives me, trying to play the right way, and watch film, see where I can get better, and be ready to go for game 4. But the commentary is what it is at this point. It doesn't matter. We're here in the NBA Finals, 2 wins away from an NBA championship. So, just got to stay with it, put my head down, keep working. And as a group, we just got to keep learning from our mistakes, seeing where we can get better, and take it a day at a time.
Thank you, Tyrese.
Appreciate it, guys.
Pascal will be right up. Take first question, second row on the right.
Benedict, every day when people go out of his house, try to have a nice day. Did you thought about this, that you were going to have a good game today?
Yeah, is that a true question? I'll pray every morning. Oh, that's what you're trying to say? Nah, just pray every day. I know I'm going to have a great day.
Over here on the left side, second row.
Benedict, you didn't play in the first quarter. I guess, how did you kind of stay ready mentally for when you got into the second quarter, and how do you think you've kind of grown when it comes to being ready when your number is called?
Just staying ready. Whenever my number gets called, just to go in the game and do the right things and trying to have my team win. That's the whole mindset.
Over on the right side, third row.
Benedict, it felt like when the bench came in the second quarter, the energy in the whole building kind of shifted. Did you feel that? Did you feel like maybe there was a little extra juice after you guys went on a run in the second?
For sure. I think, having guys like TJ and Obi gets in the game, and Shep, just playing hard. It's a group of guys who play extremely hard, and I think that's exactly what we needed, just to get the fans back on their feet, and everybody was cheering. So,
Scott on the right.
Ben, that's something as a collective, as a bench, you guys talked about, obviously knowing you needed to contribute more. Is that something as a group you talked about, or just knew you took it upon yourself whenever your moment came?
I think that's our job. Like I said, just get in the game and have that mindset. I think that once we get in the game, I told the guys yesterday that we don't have as many chances of the one who start the game. Obviously, we have less minutes, but I think you just have to get in the game with the right mindset, and you just got to give it all you got, win the game.
Dustin here on the left.
Ben, just what got you into rhythm offensively? You're obviously able to hit a lot of those mid-rangers and threes and stuff like that. I mean, just how did you find space, and what got you, just into a rhythm shooting-wise?
Pretty much just shooting shots I like. Was able to get in the gym a lot, I'm saying, this week and just prepare for this game.
Jamal up front.
I know you've talked about it in the past before, but last year, going through the experience of not being able to play in the run, how much did you think that helped prepare you for being able to contribute in this run?
I think as much as I was out last year, not being able to play, I learned a lot. Just being on the bench, being next to, the coaches who were able to run me through the game and stuff like that. So, I was able to. It was an unfortunate situation, but I was, fortunate enough to learn a lot and be ready for this year.
Front right.
Hey, Ben, up here. It seemed like in game 2, at certain points, the offense went stagnant and you guys weren't able to move the ball as much. And tonight, there was a lot of off-ball movement, guys cutting towards the rim. What did you see differently tonight that allowed you guys to find so much success in that area?
I think our aggressiveness. I think, the way we started the game, wasn't the best, but we were able to, call a timeout and pretty much execute what we usually do. And I think when we play Pacers basketball, that's the best thing that, we're going to get and the fans are going to get.
Second row here on the left.
Benedict, Rick Carlisle told us a story about how you were basically counting down the days till you could return from the labrum injury, and you were like coming in every day, taking the sticky note off of the calendar. Can you describe what that was like for you? And then secondly, what does Obi Toppin mean to this team from an energy standpoint?
I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. I think that I don't want to say it that way. A lot of people enjoy playing basketball, but I really love playing basketball. I think it's, family and basketball for me. So, me not being able to play, I wish I could do anything to be on the court, but I couldn't. So, like I said, trying to put myself in positions where I could learn about the game and just improve as much as I can. And Obi has been great, man. He's been the player that, I wouldn't expect less of him, because he's a source of energy and, he's always smiling. He has a contagious energy. So just him coming to the game and bringing, whatever it is, defense or offense, it's always great to have.
Last question here on the left side, standing.
You got 27 points, outscore OKC bench by yourself. How important was the energy from the crowd for you tonight?
You said how was
How was important of the crowd in the fan energy? Yeah.
They were very, very important. I think that the state of Indiana is about basketball. And that's the first time that I really felt it. And as much as this is a dream right now, I'm not trying to live in my dream. I'm trying to live in the present and make sure the dream ends well, which means winning next game and winning a championship. So if the fans can help me, that's the best I can get.
Thank you.
Congratulations on 27 points.
Say it again.
Congratulations.
Oh, appreciate you, my bro. Appreciate you.
All right, first question right here in the front.
Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Mark said that he didn't feel like their strategy defensively on you changed much, but their execution, he felt like their force was more on point tonight. What did you see from them defensively, and what impact did that have on the turnovers, especially you had tonight?
Yeah, they were aggressive. They were higher on the pick and rolls. They really were just, like Coach said, more aggressive, more forceful. Yeah, we gotta, starts with me, but we gotta apply that pressure back. Especially if you want to beat a team like that on the road, you gotta be the more forceful team for sure.
First row here on the left.
Shay, you guys go in the fourth quarter up 5, then you're only able to score 18 in the quarter. You only got 3 shots up. What got you guys stuck in the mud, and what kept you from going individually in the fourth?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because I don't see it from a bird's eye view right now. After watching film, we'll definitely have a better idea. but they were aggressive. They were heavy in the crowd. I'm not sure how many points they had, but it felt like that when they scored, like we're going against a set defense, and it's always harder against a set defense. So off the top of my head, those are a few things, but I'm sure there's probably more that we can weave through once we watch film.
First row here on the right.
Joel Lorenz with the Oklahoma. Shea, it was almost too many winning plays to count on the Indiana side. It felt like in the fourth quarter, Obi's put back the steal on the inbound. Like, what was maybe the most frustrating part of the way the fourth quarter unraveled?
I'm not too sure. We just, like you said, it felt like they won all the 50-50 plays. They executed on both ends of the ball. When you give those two things up, and no matter what quarter, you're probably going to lose the quarter. Especially, and then it goes back to especially on the road in a hostile environment, the crowd's behind them. So, yeah, we got to take care of those things if we want to come out of the game forward with a dub.
All right, second row, middle.
Also, world. Their defensive pressure seemed to really affect you guys right there at midcourt. Both you and Jalen were always sort of corralled up. What was different about tonight, more than, besides maybe they're just playing with more force?
They were higher in the pick and rolls.
Have they been going that high?
No, they hadn't.
During the series?
No, they hadn't. That's what they were higher tonight in the pick and rolls. Like, they were above the screen. So, like, when you come off it, you got to go backwards. And that's a little bit of – it goes back to a little bit more force. Like, if we are more aggressive to start the pick and roll and setting it up, then we get a better angle. Things like that usually come down to, like, who throws the first punch, and I think that's what that was.
All right, first row, far left.
Nick Gallo, OKC Thunder. Shea, what do you guys do as competitors here for the next 48 hours? I know you probably wish you could get right back out there and play those guys again right now, but how do you win these next 48 hours?
Yeah, learn from your mistakes, rest, recovery, do everything we can to be a better basketball team come next game. Yeah, I would say those things.
Second row on the left.
Yeah, McConnell steals 3 inbounds, and you guys had a few more. I think Caruso called them pick six type turnovers where it's just, run out dunks. As you look at a game like this, how detrimental are not only those points, but just how it feels when a guy just steals an inbound layup?
Yeah, those plays hurt, especially because they're very controllable. You can take your time and inbound the ball, but you make mistakes in basketball, no matter the stage, and we definitely had opportunities to cover those things up, but you also don't let plays like that happen. It just goes back to being tighter, being more focused, being more forceful all night, and things like that really hurt for sure.
Last question, fourth row, the middle.
John Hollinger from The Athletic. Yeah, 9 of 20 from the field tonight. Did you feel happy with the shots you got, or did you feel like you could get to better ones, or was it more just you got what you wanted and miss on them?
Yeah, I feel like I had some good looks tonight that I missed that I usually make. There's moments where I could have been a little bit more aggressive, I would say. But yeah, I'll watch film, clean everything up, and try to be better for this basketball team come next game.
Thank you, Shea.
Of course.
All right, first question right here in the front on the right.
Chet, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Just felt like too many mistakes tonight, and obviously fourth quarter didn't close the way you guys would want. What'd you feel like was lacking tonight?
I wouldn't even say there's a feeling of something being lacking. There's a lot of areas we can clean up. Myself personally, every down the roster that got in tonight can look in the mirror and see where they can be better. Everybody who stepped out there can be better, and it starts with me. I got to be better. There was a couple opportunities that we gave away on the inbounds, just taking care of the ball. You could look at every single breakdown and see an opportunity to be better. We got to understand that no game's going to be perfect. Next game's not going to be perfect, but we have to watch the film and see what we can do to put ourselves in a better position to win the game.
Fourth row in the center.
Yeah, John Hollinger from The Athletic. Yeah, Chet, the fourth quarter in particular, you guys scored 18 points, missed 9 of your last 10 shots. What do you think happened to you guys down the stretch that caused you to struggle so much?
I'm going to have to go back and watch the film on that one. I don't want to say something without being able to see the whole picture. But obviously, to win games of this magnitude at this level, we have to be better than, the stat you just threw out there. We need to close games, close quarters, close possessions. It doesn't just come down to the end of the game. We got to figure out how to put ourselves in a better position, for the whole 48 minutes.
Second row here.
Yeah, Chet, Barry Trammell, Tulsa World. You scored 13 in the first quarter, struggled after that. What was working so well for you in the first quarter, and then what went awry after that?
Yeah, I think, I was playing aggressive, but, I kind of got more to 2 feet when I got in the painted area, and then, the plays that didn't go my way, I felt like I got a little sped up at times, and, I got a little bit out of control in the paint, which is, again, another one of the areas where I need to clean up and be better for the next game. And I think there's more than just that. I got to, watch the film and improve.
Fourth row on the right.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma. Chet. We just asked Alex in the locker room if this feels at all similar to the way the Denver series sort of unfolded, and he was just saying that this is probably more frustrating because it is the finals. I just wonder what's sort of the most frustrating part about the way these finals have unfolded, and do you feel there are similarities to the Denver series?
I wouldn't say that now is the time for emotions to be thinking about how you're feeling, emotional this, emotional that. Like, you kind of have to cut that out and just kind of look at the substance of what it is. We have a great opportunity here. And, the great thing is we have another game coming up, Game 4, so we can't be thinking about frustration or anything, no matter how good it's going, how bad it's going. The focus can't be on your emotions. It has to be on, what we're trying to accomplish, task at hand.
All right, thank you, Chet.
Yeah.
All right, first question here in the front on the right.
Sorry, Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma. Jalen, I believe it was 19 turnovers after it all. Just how would you sort of characterize those, and on the inbound steals from McConnell, like what did those plays sort of feel like?
They sucked. Just bad, unforced turnovers. So those usually hurt you, especially like in these games where there's like such high stakes and it's going to be separated by, 1 or 2 possessions. Those are very controllable turnovers, and they resulted in points. So we had control of the game, and those turnovers are the ones where, like, they get back into it, they get the crowd into it. You know what I mean? So if we can cut those out, I think we'll be in good shape. But yeah, we had a lot of uncharacteristic turnovers that also led to touchdowns. So or points for everybody that doesn't know that reference. But that hurt us tonight for sure.
First row, Jenny.
Jalen, Mark said that Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoma. Mark said that he didn't feel like defensively they changed philosophy, but attack and approach was more forceful. How do you counter that going into 4?
You said them? Yeah. Yeah, they didn't change. They didn't change around too much. They just amped up their pressure, and being at home, you have that juice to do it. So we got to meet that same amount of force and exceed it.
Sorry, Tim, right here.
You hit that pull-up at the end of the third. Seemed like a huge shot at the time, put you guys up 5. What stands out to you about what went wrong after that?
I missed a shot and then I fouled and they're right back in the game. That's been kind of the same thing. It's kind of like the thing I was talking about with the turnovers. Like, this team makes big runs, and like those little unforced errors are where obviously I can't control if I miss a shot or not. That's not really the issue. It's just more a foul, give up an and one. Now they're back within 2, and now that shot kind of means nothing. You know what I mean? So I think we just had a lot of unforced errors, and they capitalize on them because they're a good team.
Third row on the right.
Hi, Jalen. Mike Vorknoff with The Athletic. Most young teams, when they try to win a title for the first time, kind of have this inflection point or pivot moment for themselves. Now down 2-1 in this series, do you view that as that moment for you guys? And what do you think you can learn from the Denver series here?
I mean, we've been in that exact same kind of predicament. This Game 3 was a better Game 3 than the ones we've had. So we'll take that and run with it. But, yeah, I mean, it's very pivotal. Obviously, you don't like being down in a series, but we have been here before, so we'll use that experience and work to get better from it.
Any other questions for Jalen? Thank you. Here in the front row on the right.
Joel Lorenzi with the Oklahoma. Mark, a little bit of a two-parter. First of all, 19 turnovers, I believe. Didn't feel like the team we've watched. How would you sort of characterize those turnovers? And then, I guess, where did you feel Indy gained the upper hand down the stretch?
I mean, the turnovers were uncharacteristic. Obviously, we're usually pretty clean there. I give them credit. I thought they played really well. They played with great energy. They were physical. They pressured. They sustained it for much of the 48. I thought we did some good things. I mean, we got off to a really good start. And then got off to a really good start in the third. We really controlled the first and third quarters and had a really hard time in the second and the fourth. So we'll watch it. It wasn't all bad, but we definitely have to play, our style and impose our will for more of the 48 minutes if we want to come on the road and get a win.
Second row on the left.
Mark. Daniel Belbia. So seemed like a lot of switches tonight, and I know you guys are a switchable team, but it seemed like a lot of them didn't come with much resistance. Do you feel like that gave them a little too many good looks on their end?
I mean, we'll watch it. Every possession is different. There's definitely possessions where I thought they were the aggressor and we weren't, in the ball enough. And there were some possessions that were really good. I thought specifically to start the third quarter, our pressure and physicality was right where it needed to be. So we had a lot of good stretches of the game, but they had more good stretches than we did and outplayed us over the course of 48 minutes. And obviously we need to play better if we want to give ourselves a better chance in Game 4.
First row, Tim.
What did you see from your offense to keep your offense from get going in the fourth quarter, and specifically from Shea? Only got up 3 shots, didn't get any assists down the stretch in that quarter.
Yeah, I mean, they really outplayed us in the fourth. Give them credit. I thought we were in really good shape coming out of the third quarter. We had a 5-point lead. And kind of weathered the storm of the second quarter. That was a rough quarter, and we were only down whatever we were at halftime, 4 or 6, and we got control of the game coming out of the third. And then in the fourth quarter, I just thought they really outplayed us on both ends. I thought they were in character in terms of their physicality, their pressure on defense, and then they were in character in terms of their pace on offense, and they just stacked way more, quality possessions in the fourth quarter than we did.
First row here on the right.
Mark Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Speaking of their defense, I know Shea's seen everything under the sun, but did you sense additional physicality with him, more double teams coming quicker? What did you see just what they did defensively with him tonight, and what do you have to adjust going into 4?
I didn't think they really changed their schemes very much. I just thought they were sharper, like I said, with the physicality and the pressure. And their physicality was stronger than our force in a lot of those possessions. Not all of them. Obviously we had really good stretches of the game, but not enough good stretches of the game to stack up to a win on the road.
Second row on the left.
Slater with the Athletic. You don't often see, a stolen inbound in the NBA, and I think McConnell got you at least 3 times for just catch layups. How inexcusable do you view those turnovers, and how much do you think that, snowballed?
I mean, those were big plays, obviously, but in terms of inexcusable, I mean, everybody's out there competing and trying, and not going to place blame on those plays. I just thought their overall tone was better than ours for the majority of the game. Like I said, I thought we had some really good stretches, but we just made one too many mistakes and had one too many possessions on both ends of the floor where they were more, tied to their identity than we were. But obviously those are costly plays.
Second row, middle.
Yeah, Barry Trammell told the world, they say role players play better at home. That's clearly the deal tonight. Mathurin outscores your whole bench. What can you do to reverse that trend, and what specifically was so difficult about Mathurin tonight?
Yeah, he was, he's had games like this in previous series. He seems to have a game like this in every series, and he's a talented player. He was really aggressive tonight. He did a great job. McConnell did a great job. Their bench really came in the game and was excellent. I thought that was had a lot to do with the second quarter. The start they got off to, I think, was like 15-4, and then the start of the fourth quarter as well. And I thought those guys were catalysts to that. So you tip your hat to them. Those guys played really well. They outplayed us. The team outplayed us tonight. We got to learn from it, and then try to go be a better team in Game 4.
Any other questions for Coach? Second row right there.
They seemed intentional on getting into the paint early and often. How much of a challenge was that for you guys, is to slow their offense down when they're that intentional?
I thought that just the pace of their offense was sharper than our pressure, physicality tonight. I thought that's just what it came down to. They get the ball ahead of us more easily tonight than they did in the first two games, and that led to a lot of the downstream effects of their offense, our defense tonight. So we'll look at it. We think we have some solutions, but we got to go out there and do it. But in the meantime, give them credit. They went and got that game. They outplayed us for the majority of the game, and they deserve to win.
Last two, right here in the front.
Mark, after you guys go down 8, you give yourself some opportunities, whether it was Alex's steal or just some different things, but really didn't capitalize. Is that just a microcosm of some of the bigger picture issues you saw, or was something happening late, just not being able to maybe close that gap a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, when you're down 8 with that little time, your margin for error is really thin. So the solution to that, first solution to that, is don't be down 8 with 2.5 to go if you want to win. It's hard to win that game in that situation. We're always going to try to do everything we can to try to close a gap and put game pressure on the opponent. But they did a good job, holding us off down the stretch. I thought their execution, even late in the fourth quarter when they had a lead, was really, really strong, and they did a good job slamming the door on the game.
Last question back on the right.
Hey, Coach. Leandro Sarra from ESPN Brazil. You guys had some missed free throws in the fourth. Do you feel like that played a big factor, and do you credit that to the maybe the inexperience of the players or the environment? What do you think about that?
I'm not, I don't really know, to be honest with you. Usually we're a pretty good free throw shooting team. We've been in a lot of environments, stepped up in a lot of situations. I have the utmost confidence in the team. But it was, one of those, I thought it was an uncharacteristic night in a lot of ways for us. So we got to learn from it and then tap back into, being who we are, in Game 4. And if we do that, I think we'll have a much better chance to win.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.